Our guest this week for the Rotary E-Club of the Greater San Fernando Valley is Sean Davis, who is a Rotary Youth Exchange student from right here in Southern California. And in a moment, we'll let him tell us where he is. Hello, Sean.
Hi.
How you doing?
Uh, Pretty good. Thanks for having me, I guess.
Thanks for doing
This
this with
is
us.
certainly the first of a kind for me.
Good.
Um,
We're excited to be a forward-thinking Rotary Club that does this for people. We once had
you are pretty fortunate.
Yeah, we once had guest speakers live from inside the House of Friendship in Lisbon. Okay, recorded, but still, they went into the House of Friendship, found the Wi-Fi, set up their Skype, and we got to talk to them from inside the House of Friendship. We do wacko stuff out here. It's fun.
I don't know what the House of Friendship is, but it sounds pretty cool. So,
Okay, we'll talk about Rotary
uh,
International conventions, but don't worry about it. The
okay,
point.
good.
So let's start with this. Where are you right now?
Right now I am in Crinum, which is right outside of Brussels in Belgium. So right in the middle of Belgium, pretty much.
And this
And
is. Go
this
ahead.
is my host family's house, and I'm currently in the bedroom. So my bedroom.
Your bedroom. And
Um,
just to clarify, you
well,
didn't bring your entire room with you from Southern California.
No, I'm actually staying in the host family's daughter's room because she's also on exchange in Northern California. So it's kind of cool because we're both exchange students and we're both living out the same experiences, just different families.
So we're just moving
But
yeah, exchange students around the world. That's excellent.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, like chess
Um,
pieces. I
and
like it.
I've actually sat in on one of the Skype calls between her and my host family, her actual family, and it seems like she's liking Northern California quite a bit. So it's pretty cool. She likes our football games and stuff. So
Ah, excellent. Okay,
uh,
so fitting in well so far. Now,
yeah.
how did you learn how you learned of Rotary is cheating? But I'll still let you tell us. But once you tell us how you found out about Rotary, uh, how did you find out about the youth exchange program, and then what interested you in wanting to do it?
Uh, well, I mean, obviously, I heard about Rotary because my mom is a Rotarian, so yes, it is kind of cheating. Um, how I heard about the program, honestly, I'm not quite sure, but I think I heard about it at a youth conference for Interact clubs. And Warren, I think, got up. Warren is the youth exchange officer for me, at least in Southern California, and um, he got up and gave a presentation about the program and talked about all the different places that kids went, and kids from foreign countries came to the U.S. and whatnot, and then other exchange students from other countries who were in the U.S. talked about their experiences, and I just thought it was really cool because I like traveling and I like seeing new things and going new places. So it was kind of a dream come true, really, to hear about the program and then to actually go on exchange.
What were the steps in the process? What's the first thing you needed to do to get yourself from out here to out there?
Uh, hmm. Well, first you need to pick up an application, and I believe they're online, so you just kind of get the application online,
And
and
it's the Rotary district that coordinates this, not an individual Rotary club. So you were going
no,
through our district 5280, correct?
yes,
Okay.
and so yeah, I'd be going to the youth exchange website and then getting the application and filling everything out. It's quite a lengthy application, actually. There's quite a lot to it. Lots of like intricate things too. Like you have to include pictures of your house to show to the families that might be thinking about taking in an exchange student in the country that you want to go to. They would actually be seeing what you're currently living with in the U.S. and sort of comparing and thinking about it, and so yeah, there's kind of a lot to it, but I guess sort of the first thing, even before the application, is just sort of mentally preparing and wanting to go on exchange and sort of figuring it out in your own head. You got to think about whether you can handle being away for a year, whether you can handle leaving all your friends and family, and then deciding what country you want to spend your exchange year in. Uh, so besides the application, it's a lot of like mental preparation, really. Um, And once the application's through, it's then just kind of a waiting game, waiting for Rotary to get the application, read through it, accept it, and then from then it's they have to actually approve the country that you want to go to. So you can put down three choices, your top three, but you might not actually get your first choice. So you actually have to sort of wait and hope that you get your first choice. And thankfully, Belgium was my first choice, so I got pretty lucky for that.
I was about to ask you what your other two choices were without asking you to tell me what the order was, but fortunately Belgium was the first choice. What were the other two?
Well, you can guess the order for these two: Switzerland and Austria. So, which one do you think is number two?
My anal retentive nature would just guess Austria to put it in alphabetical order, but my feeling is it rolled off your tongue so quickly, Switzerland and then Austria, that maybe that's how you have it in your head. I'm overthinking this.
Yeah, you are, because it was Austria. So,
okay. So I go back to the anal retentive nerd part of me, and I'm good. All right.
Yeah, not for the same reason. Not for alphabetical order or anything. I just kind of like Austria and Vienna. It sounded pretty cool to me. So.
Now, what prompted those three choices? What was interesting to you about each of them?
Well, I like obviously, I guess I like Europe because those were my top three choices. But it's kind of weird actually because when I think of Switzerland and Austria, I probably unfairly consider them to be very similar countries, which obviously for many reasons is not true. But so, in my head, at least, back when I was making the decision for my top three, because I lumped those two together, I figured if I didn't get Belgium, I would get one of those two, hopefully, and they sounded pretty similar at the time, so I was just like, well, I could probably get it. But I think probably the food was what interested me the most. I like meat and potatoes. So I figured that was a pretty healthy choice of meat and potato diet in those sort of middle of Europe countries. I also wanted snow because Southern California doesn't have snow.
Give us a few years of climate change, but go ahead.
Yeah, of course. We'll probably drown first, but that's
yes,
okay.
That's true.
We all know how to swim, so. But I don't know. It really kind of depends because I was really just banking on Belgium, really. So I wasn't thinking too hard about getting Switzerland or Austria because I almost knew that I would get Belgium. But I mean, why I chose Belgium is an entirely different story, and I don't know if you want to
absolutely
waste.
Yes,
okay.
There's no such thing as waste.
Okay. Well, okay. There's a lot of reasons. One is sort of more forward thinking than the others. I want to major in international relations when I eventually go to university in the U.S. or wherever I go to college. And here in Belgium, in Brussels, actually, they have the European Union and NATO. So two very huge and important international organizations. I didn't know this before I came, but now that I am here, it makes a lot of sense. The climate sort of in Brussels is very international. Like when you're walking around, you can hear different languages being spoken, and English and French and Spanish and a bunch of African languages, depending on the neighborhoods you're in and whatnot. So it's a pretty cool international city. And similar to that, it's also in the middle of Europe. So I can visit a bunch of different places if the opportunity arises, as well as the fact that students here in Belgium, exchange students here, have the opportunity to go on trips organized by Rotary. And so that means I'm actually going to be going to London, Paris, Amsterdam, Prague, and Italy throughout the year. So that was very appealing to me as well. The fact that I could not only visit Belgium, but also go to Italy, which is my home country, I guess, for 11 days, which I wouldn't have the opportunity to do if I went to, say, France. So, France is cool and all, but, I also want to see more than just France. And also, I want to learn French, which is cool. And beer, waffles, chocolate, and frites. So
Those
lots
all
of good,
qualify in the list.
absolutely. So, and then probably more that I couldn't explain or describe. So I don't know. Those are the
Intangibles.
ones that come to mind, at least.
I've got two follow-up questions in mind already. Will you have
Okay.
an opportunity, either through Rotary contacts or just because you feel like it, will you have the chance to visit the headquarters of the EU or NATO?
That's a good question, actually. I haven't really probed too much into it yet because I've only obviously been here for less than 2 weeks. But I have a year to sort of figure that out. But of course, going to absolutely try my hardest to actually go visit, and maybe somehow in my wildest dreams I'll somehow get a internship or something if I can actually do that. I don't even know if I can legally do that because I'm an
Mm.
American citizen, but I have to figure something out. And also, there's a rule for exchange students that you can't be gainfully employed. So I'll have to figure out whether an internship counts as being gainfully employed or not. As long as I don't get paid, I don't think it'll be an issue. And I doubt the EU wants to pay me anyway. So, but
You never know, but it's
yeah,
interesting that what the definition is of gainfully at that point. You're certainly going to gain a tremendous amount of great experience.
yeah,
As long as we keep
absolutely,
the economic question out of it, it
yeah.
shouldn't be an issue. Now,
Maybe I could be paid under the table or something. Who knows?
that
It is Europe.
it is Europe. We won't say another word about that. Uh, so, what about the language situation? What year in school are you starting? Or I think you just started on 2 or 3 days ago, if I'm recalling.
Yeah, I've only actually had 2 days of school.
Hmm.
Um, but over here, I am what they call, I guess, grade six, which is basically a senior level grade. So I'm a senior in Belgian high school. Um, Language wise, it's extremely tough. Um, I know some people, other exchange students who have had years of French classes, like Canadian kids, for example,
Hmm.
depending on where they're from, they've taken at this point like 12 years of French, and they're totally fine. Like they can have absolutely, in-depth conversations with people. But I took 3 years of Latin and I finished junior year. So I'm 2 years out of the language learning game, and even then it was Latin. So for me, it's really difficult. And it's funny because it's even more difficult due to the fact that everybody here speaks English. So, right off the bat, it seems like, oh, well, at least you can speak English with people, and that way you can learn some more. But it's actually harder because it's just easier to speak English than it is to learn French. Um, so it's actually sort of a two-way struggle to learn French and then also not to speak English. So far, I guess I'm sort of losing the battle. I'm speaking more English than I should be, but I am making an effort to try to learn sentences, learn words, learn phrases. And I'm also lucky because my Rotary Club has offered to pay for French classes, where go two times a week for 3 hours and learn French at a apparently is a great English language learning French center or whatever you want to call it. So thankfully, I got that to look forward to, as well as I think 8 hours a week of French at school. Um, so that's kind of what I'm looking at for the future, at least in terms of learning the language.
Now, that's an interesting question. 8 hours a week in French at school, but you're in school longer than 8 hours a week, I take it. So your
Yes.
school is being conducted predominantly in English.
No, actually, I
Okay.
yeah, it was a little the way that I said it was a little confusing, I guess, because and it's trust me, it's confusing for me too. Because the way that it works here is you don't choose classes based on like a schedule. So whereas in the U.S. we have like block schedules or rotating block schedules, where you have a set number of classes, like let's say 6 classes, and you take 5 of them one day, and then it rotates, and you take the sixth one the next day. Or it doesn't work like that over here. You choose the amount of hours per week you take a subject. So, for example, I'm also taking economics, which is interesting. um, it's in French, so I don't really know necessarily what's going on the entire time. But I'm taking 4 hours a week of economics. So I'm looking for my schedule, but I think it's in my backpack. And so let's just say I would take 1 hour a week on Monday. I would have it right after lunch, and then I would have it on Wednesday, right before lunch, and then Friday I would have it, 2 hours back to back, right in the morning or something. And so for me, I have 8 hours of French spread out throughout the entire school week. Um, so in total, right now I have 24, but I'm actually 6 hours short of the minimum because the school is like, well, you're an exchange student, you can take whatever classes you want. So I sort of lowballed it a little bit, and so now I have to actually add more classes. But I'm looking at 8 hours a week of French classes out of 30, and hopefully then all day at school I should be speaking French, and so I'll be picking up more. But in terms of formal classes in Belgian school, I only have 8.
So it'll be the immersion, the combination of immersion into society and forcing yourself, and also you've got the class. When you said your Rotary Club is covering that for you to send you to the language class, is that your host club there in Belgium?
Yes. Their name is actually
Aha!
this is their
The banner.
yeah their banner. So you could, I don't know if you could see it very well, but here's
Back up about 6 inches. Ah, I see.
there's
Okay.
Crinum, and here's the other city which I have never actually visited before. Wezenbeek, I guess, or something. Something Dutch, or Flemish. And so there's also like a windmill made out of a K and a W to represent
Oh,
those
I see.
cities.
Took a
And
minute to
because
get that visual.
there's actually a windmill around town that's a very old windmill that looks really cool. So that's sort of what the symbol is. But yeah, so this is the Rotary Club that I have here in Belgium, and the classes that they're paying for are outside of school. They're actually Monday and Thursday from 6:30 to 9:30. So
Is that AM or
it's
PM?
p.m.
Okay.
So it's going to be late nights on Monday and Thursday. But it's necessary. So I can't really complain, and they're also paying for it, so it's very generous of them to actually help me learn the language. Um,
How often will you visit that club? What are your Rotary related responsibilities there? I mean, just to give you a little bit of background, we had Melody Janti come speak at our club a month or so ago. She's a visiting youth exchange student from New Caledonia here. What responsibilities are you enjoying there?
well, the Rotary Club here is a nightclub, and they go every Thursday. And actually, the last Thursday of every month is a dinner. So it's a pretty cool club. It's about 35 guys. It's only men because Rotary here in Belgium is men only.
By rule or still by convention?
Not quite sure, but I think it might actually be a rule.
Our club is more than 50% women, so we just had a bunch of people throw things at their computer screen. It's not your fault. Go on.
Yeah, well, it's cultural. I was talking to the head of the chairman of the youth commission or whatever for the club, and I mentioned it, and he said, well, yeah, he didn't like it very much, and it's sort of, I don't want to say contentious in the club, but it's, some people enjoy that, and some people really dislike it not having women. So it's sort of an interesting topic, and one that I don't expect to solve anytime soon while I'm here in Belgium. But I've only been to one Rotary meeting so far, and that was actually a dinner meeting. So they told me that I can go to as many meetings as I want. I can go to every single one, or I can just go to one every 2 months or whatever. But so it's really up to me. But I'm gonna try to go once a month, because which is maybe actually seems a little low. So I might want to pick that up a little bit. But depending on my schedule with school, I'll have to see how busy I am and Maybe I guess technically I would have. Oh, so maybe I can't go to any of their meetings actually because I have those French lessons that they're paying for on the same night that they have their meetings.
Well, that'll
Uh,
keep you from suggesting women in their Rotary Club. Okay.
yeah, well, yeah, I guess that's what I get for stepping out of line.
Hmm.
Um, wow. I'll
How
have to
many
figure
more
that out.
clubs are there in the relatively immediate area? Is it an area like LA where we have we have 63 clubs in driving distance if you don't account for traffic just in 5280? How close are other clubs there?
Well, there's 255 clubs in all of Belgium.
Okay.
Uh, so not very many, really. But all of the sort of main towns, I think, kind of have clubs. Um, but I honestly couldn't tell you what the other closest club is besides the one in Crinum. I know, for instance, that there's three clubs in Brussels,
Mm.
um, which is obviously within driving distance. So I guess if you count Brussels, there's three clubs within driving distance, and then others that I'm sure exist, but I'm just not aware of.
It's interesting how it's a different world in different contexts. Most almost entirely men in Belgium, fewer clubs, in no packs of clubs in dense areas. It's interesting to hear the
Mhm.
differences. We don't have a lot of time left, but I want to move to both how much contact you had before arrival with your host family, and tell us about your host family. I understand they're not Rotarians, but they are close friends with someone who is, I assume, in that same local club.
Uh-huh.
So who are you
Uh,
staying with?
I'm staying with the Brunet family here in Crinum, and it's a father, mother, and their 14-year-old son, who is obviously living here with us, and their daughter, whose room I'm staying in, is in Northern California on exchange. Uh, so they run a bed and breakfast actually, which is attached to the home that we're staying in, and I'm actually uh, oh, sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Um, but the amount of contact that I had before was not too much, really. Like a few emails here and there. The first email that I actually got, and the way that I found out that I had, gotten a place in Belgium was they sent me an email saying, "Hello, you're staying with us. This is where we live. This is our family. This is blah blah blah." So that was my first contact with them. And then I sent them an email back asking some questions about things and saying hello and how excited I was. And then after that, we didn't really talk for too long. And then they sent another email asking some questions about how to make me comfortable in their home and snacks and stuff like that. So only really a few emails here and there. And then um, I became Facebook friends with both of the kids, um, the daughter whose room I'm staying in, and the my exchange brother here. Um, so not too much actually in terms of contact between us before I showed up, um, which I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It doesn't really matter because I'm here and I know them now, and I'm staying with them for until January. So it's I'm not sure, you know, whether that's a issue or not.
Now, is that the term of your visit, or is it a full year visit and you switch host families as the local visiting students here do, and switch to another family?
Yeah, I have three families while I'm here. This
Okay.
one, and then my next family is actually the sister of the my mother here.
Hmm.
So I'm going to stay with another relative of this family, and then
Right.
my third family I'm not quite sure about. I don't know anything about them yet, but I'm sure I will when the time comes. So yeah, when I
I hope
say
so.
Jan
You'll need to find them. Yes.
yes, they need to come pick me up at wherever the heck I'll be. Um, so yeah, I'm here until January, and I think after the new year I'll be switching to my other family. And actually, in January, all of the Australian and New Zealand and South African exchange students arrive.
Mm.
So all have been here for months, and they'll have just arrived. So it'll be sort of a new environment, I guess, because there will be so many other exchange students just arriving.
It's also interesting how the years, the school years, are different here
Hmm.
and there. So, all right. Well, we can't take too much more time today, or
Okay.
as with any Rotary Club meeting, and I'm sure you've attended some out here. When the speaker says, how long should I speak, and the answer is always, you can speak as long as you like. We leave at 12:30.
Yeah.
I want to thank you very much for your time today and let you go eat dinner at 6:30 p.m. Belgium time. I'm going to drink more coffee, and I know our club will be very much looking forward to another conversation with you. Maybe let's not even wait the whole year. Let's see intermediate how things are going.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I would absolutely
yeah.
love to. I mean, it's good to share my experiences with people back in the U.S. and then hopefully somehow more people will learn about the exchange program and maybe a few more lucky kids will hear about it and actually go on exchange. So
And that's always our goal as a newer, younger club. We're looking to learn about these things so we can hopefully help guide someone to have the great experience that you're having too someday. Well, excellent. Rotary Youth Exchange student Sean Davis, thank you for this visit and for your time, and we'll do this again down the road.
thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.